either.
Yeah, right. He told Comey that, he wasn't
allegedly.
He didn't even spend the night in Moscow. Now, who are you going to believe? Trump when he's talking to Comey, or Trump's tweets from when he was in Russia and he's like, I'm in Russia. He tweeted on a Friday.
And they have the flight logs from his plane that say, that prove he stayed overnight.
He literally tweeted on them Monday, just got back from Moscow. I mean, it's like, you're telling us where you're at. You can't then deny you were at the places you said you were at, Oh, yeah. What else is in the news?
Well, that's why it comes down, all these people who, well, not all, more incredulous ones who are defending Trump, like Alan Dershowitz, who said this week, well, you can't pay attention to what he says or what he tweets. It's like, I don't think that has any legal standing. If you're speaking as a lawyer, you can't listen to what my client says and tells people and promotes and tweets. And
I think what that is to me. That's trying to be the best attorney when you have no legal defense of the guy. So now you're just off the rails and saying things that make no sense. Like, oh yeah, what the president of the United States says doesn't count. Well, how does that work?
Right.
Why did they look for those 15 minutes of Nixon if what he said on the tape wouldn't have mattered anyway? It's it's just a rejection of all values you probably at some point have claimed to have. I'm sure that Alan Dershowitz has argued that the person he was going against in the courthouse had said XYZ, and he didn't say, but what he said didn't matter. That's not how the law works. Oi.
Well, it's as I've said and listened to you guys, which is always hilarious. It's like we pretty much Trump can say whatever he wants. I mean, and like Dershowitz said, you can't pay attention to what he's saying. But but his people, his followers, they're hypnotized. They're into him. I talk to him all the time. They're sitting around. He can do no wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter what, and it's not the poor whites. These are highly educated, working, upper middle class, whatever. They believe white males, and there are a few Cubans. I've ran into a few Cubans who are into, and now we got Kanye. Kanye's into him. Good old Kanye says that the Trumpster is,
By the way, for the record, I thought Kanye was an idiot long before this week.
Well, Obama did call him a jackass.
Yeah. And,
Well, I'll just say that almost all of the people that I want to boycott, I can't boycott.
Because you're already not.
But I did actually once buy a Kanye West album, so now I can.
There you go. But, good on you.
But
I think the bigger issue with Kanye, because and there are some people on the left who do this, but it's largely something done from the right, is people say objectionable things, and then when they are, called to task for them, well, you're infringing on my First Amendment rights. And here's the problem with that. No one is infringing on your right to say whatever comes into your mind. However, those First Amendment rights do not preclude reaction to your idiocy.
Right.
And a lot of people seem to think that the First Amendment means my speech is protected, but yours isn't.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to mention that there was a funny thing where Chrissy Teigen was saying that people always want her response to things, and she was saying if they're friends that are involved in a news story, they contact them directly, and then even then sometimes that goes public. What she was talking about is John Legend texted his friend Kanye and was trying to convince him to drop the whole support of Trump, and later realized mid-conversation that Kanye was then posting screenshots of the text messages. And so then John Legend's like, well, now that I know you're sharing this, why don't you mention to people that I have a new song dropping? which Kanye did share. So
Full disclosure.
Did you see that he's going to put his mother's, the doctor of his mother on his new album?
Oh my gosh, like sound clips? Or
no, he's going to put the picture of the doctor.
I see. Well, she
Go on.
she doctor shopped, and so she got a plastic surgeon that would do all the stuff she wanted. And then,
because most of them were like, no, this isn't advisable?
Yes. And then eventually,
Well, no. The doctor told her that her heart was not strong enough to handle. So she was doing a tummy tuck and a breast lift all at the same time. And she's 67 years old, and the guy told her, your heart can't take this shit. Now, mind you, this woman is on the board of Chicago University. She was no dummy, but she was an egomaniac. Her ego got her in trouble, and so the doctor said, you shouldn't do this, and the doctor wouldn't do the surgery, so she went to the black doctor that was on Oprah. And this guy's, oh, yeah, no problem, we can do this, not a problem, yeah. Not to mention that the guy was an alcoholic, and he was up to his ears in debt. He took the deal, and did the surgery, and within 2 weeks, the chick was dead. The pain was, he told her, the doctor told her, this is not a black thing, idiot. This is flat out, just flat science. Your body is not. Tummy tucks, which people don't know, is one of the most dangerous surgeries you can do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Well, yeah, one of the most dangerous you can do on your body, especially the women who are having it done. Yeah.
I had no idea.
And then the woman ended up dead.
I would think, it may be hard to go out while you're mid-procedure, but I would think, get one breast lifted and then, wait till... Anyway.
I don't know if that's the best advice.
Okay, that's my advice. But or just not have that done. But...
yeah, that is also a possibility. But on the topic of alcoholic doctors, allegedly... Dr. Ronnie Jackson in the news this week for withdrawing from the nomination to run the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Yes. So what we have here is
a failure to communicate.
Yes, that and Trump repeatedly said that he was going to force refugees to be vetted, and people tried to explain that they're already the most vetted people. So then he's in power, and he cannot vet one person. He can't figure out, does this person have any issues that would prevent them from being in charge of the second largest bureaucracy in the country?
Well, he didn't talk to his people.
Well,
his people keeps telling him, dude, you don't talk to your people. Why are you not talking to your people?
What's the point of having the best people if you're not going to talk to the best people?
Right.
But he does know more than the generals. Oh. Which at this point, I'm starting to think he meant the Washington Generals.
Nice.
Thank you. Harlem Globetrotters reference. That's how we roll on this show.
That's how you win me over. Why, I've just become a fan of this show. One of the benefits of Trump being president, if you hate him, is that he is incompetent. So it's very hard. It will be very difficult for him to get much done. If I can rotate a bit, we could talk about North Korea, because suddenly it seems like there's some sort of warming of, North and South.
Yeah, go on, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and with certain people in the media and in government giving Trump credit for getting the Koreas together. And it reminded me a lot of when I was in high school, and my sister and I have always been relatively close. It's just the two of us kids in the family. And by the way, congratulations to my sister for getting tenure, and congratulations to Eastern Carolina University for making a wise decision to give her tenure. But we, as siblings, we fought a lot. And when our parents were getting divorced, we bonded. We got closer. We realized we had to rely on each other to be our support systems more. Now, couples divorce, things happen, but I would not necessarily give my parents credit for bringing my sister and I closer together in that instance.
Thank God they divorced so that you could get closer to your sister. Yes.
You know, it never would. I had a boss at a radio station that I worked at back in Missouri, who years later, when I was in town visiting for another occasion, and I was working at the Playboy Mansion at the time, and he was, well, you know, if I hadn't fired you, you never would have gotten a job at the Playboy. And it's like, no, you don't get to get credit for this. So I hesitate to give Donald Trump credit for bringing North and South Korea together. It's like, you know, congratulating an arsonist for giving you a reason to buy a new house.
Right. Yes, absolutely. It's crazy. I found this. My new hero is this professor of Korean studies. His name is Sung-Yoon Lee, and oh my gosh, he's very entertaining. And I think, you know, he's clearly an expert on North Korea is what he studies. But he was explaining basically that to expect nothing to come out of this, because they make these promises of peace, and after having pushed pressure by, in this case, you know, testing nuclear weapons and testing their missiles, anyway, and then suddenly they seem reasonable, you know, where they promise peace, and all he demands is that basically Korea remove the United States and Japan remove the United States from that area, and then the idea is that eventually there'll be reunification. And in his head, it'll be under the North Korean government, which you can imagine how popular that will be in the South. But you just have to listen to this guy talk. His name is Sung-Yoon Lee, and in a short interview on NPR, and obviously NPR is a little brainier than, you know, the average channel, but still he was talking about the events happening and comparing them to the ideals of Aristotle on drama. And then at the end, he mentioned that it was very much like the end of Shakespeare's A Comedy of Errors. And then he started quoting that, drawing parallels, because I guess in Comedy of Errors, there's two brothers that are reunited or whatever. But anyway, so I don't expect anything to come from it. And what will apparently happen, or at least his prediction, is that every time people in power, like the American president or whatever, meets with someone like Kim Jong-un or his father in the past, they are always surprised at how reasonable they're being. And then it seems to them that they have somehow broken through, and now they're going to get something from that person, when in fact they're always rational. They might not be rational to us, but they're rational from their own perspective in how they behave. And it's all part of the same plan, you know. I'm not saying that Dennis Rodman isn't a good judge of character, but if you look at some of the movies he's appeared in, some of his fashion choices, even, I don't know if he's the guy whose judgment we should really be going with.
And he's a raging alcoholic.
It always helps.
Yeah, the guy's been, I mean, hell of a rebounder, great basketball player back in the day with the Bulls. Hey, the Bulls.
Yeah.
Bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Who brought? You know, that's the real. Who brought peace to Korea? Donald Trump or Dennis Rodman?
Right.
Well, and as you're saying, and this gentleman who was on NPR, no one.
Yeah. No. It's.
You know, it's temporary. It's less détente than it is just a PR campaign.
No, I mean, it is a breakthrough that they shake hands and face to face and blah blah blah. But yeah, and so it was kind of, you know, definitely encouraging at first. But, you know, taking the long view, these sorts of things have happened many, many times, and they don't go anywhere except that North Korea gets what they want out of it.
Right.
So,
well, you know, hopefully we learn from the lesson of I'm blanking on his name, Otto Warmbinger, and Donald Trump gets the same treatment in North Korea that Otto Warmbinger did.
yes.
Oh, the guy who was held a prisoner there?
Yeah, and tortured and came, you know, barely came back.
I always wanted to know why all these white cats going over to a place that you know. I mean, you're the first fucker they're going to snatch. I mean, you know, why are you going over there? Remember when what's his name, Anderson Cooper, and they were doing the Egyptian. The Egyptians were throwing rocks and everything. They're battling over here. Oh my God, they're grabbing me. I was like, well, why would you